everyone, my name is Allie and I am going to be your DIY instructor this week, or coach as I like to say, for Flowers for Dreams. We're going to be making a nice gardeny, fun flower arrangement that has lovely pops of pink as well as different yellow focal flowers, and yellow is one of my favorite colors, and we have some of my favorite flowers this week. So let's get into it. I'm really excited for this arrangement and I hope you guys are too. I'm going to be using the white vase this week, but again, you can make the arrangement in either one of the vases. The sunflowers are a bit heavier of a flower, so I think when we're putting the different flowers in, we'll save those for last, but let's check out the different flowers that we have. So these beautiful bouncy pink, not yellow, pink snapdragons that have a fun little quirky top to them, which I think will be interesting to see kind of where we place those this week. We have solidago that, as the flower, or this filler flower, continues to bloom, you'll see a lot more yellow throughout that filler flower. So then we have our lovely sunflowers that are so new that they haven't quite bloomed all that much yet, but we can open them a little bit and see some more of that yellow, but again, as they drink some more water, they'll bloom a little bit more. Then we have our craspedia, or our billy balls. These are my favorite ones. They are so fun. I like that they can also be dried out and still used in later arrangements too, so feel free to save those and let them dry on a shelf and pop them into other arrangements down the road. Then we have our pink alstroemeria that is, again, so fresh and so new that it is barely blooming, but I'm going to show you how we can take off some of this greenery and really make them pop forward right before they open up in your arrangement as well. And then for our greenery, we have our podocarpus, and this guy is such a fun, long greenery. Kind of reminds me of willow trees, but it is just a fluffy garden feel of a green, and I'm excited that we have it this week. So let's start with these greenery pieces. We want to see what is going to reach the water if we can divide it out. This piece itself is a little bit shorter, so I think we're just going to take all of this all these lower leaves off, which will make sure that there isn't bacteria growing in your water. Your flowers will last longer. So we want to just make sure that anything that's going in the water doesn't have any flower petals or any leaves left on it. This piece is a bit taller. Let's get that snippers. And I think we can divide this into more than one piece. So I'm going to take this down, divide it out here. If I could use my snippers right. Come on little snippers. All right, and then just clearing off those lower, I just dropped all of that in my shoe. Oh, get that out later. Okay, so we got 2 pieces. Looks like this might get into water, so I'll take that off. This one has a lot of good branching, so I want to use this one a little bit lower so I can make a grid and kind of interlock those stems together. So let's clean a little bit of these leaves that go up that branching stem. If you can see it, I'll try to hold my hand maybe where it's dividing out. We're going to get that a little bit lower in the water, so again we can put those branches in between. This one looks nice and tall, and this one branches as well, so we'll take those off. So again, we can lock our stems in between. All right, let's start with those for that first. Again, locking in between the branches so that we get, it's a little tall. There. So we get that grid work going in to hold our heavy sunflowers up. Again, crossing front to back. And I think we will make this arrangement 360 as well this week. I like to have flowers on all the different sides, and I think what we can do as well is kind of split it up into 3 different quadrants. So because each of our flowers, other than the billy balls, we have 3 of each of those. So I think we're gonna kind of use those in a way that, whoop, tugging everything out of the arrangement, in a way that accents each of those different flowers on each different level. This guy's a little tall still. Again, going through. All right, so we have some of our greenery holding that all together, and I think what I may do this week, just because we do want a good structure to hold the heaviness or the weight of those flowers, so I think I might divide out our solidago next. And again, getting off those lower branches of leaves. Oops, I broke that guy, but don't worry, we can use him later. Maybe that one too. Just kind of seeing where I want to divide this out. I'm gonna go right there. I'll use that later. Take some of these lower ones off. And again, any leaves that'll go in the water. Then while we're adding this, I wanna, again, at an angle, kind of get that going through my grid. I think it might be nice to add this piece in the center a little bit. I'm just gonna clean these little pesky leaves. It's like you're taking them off one at a time. They are everywhere. Okay, there. Again, holding up my stem to the vase so that you can see where you want to cut that branch off at. I think that might be a little tall. There. All right. Another piece of solidago. What a fun name, solidago. Sounds very serious for a flower, actually, if I'm being honest. Take off some of these lower branches. I feel like we could have just gone outside and picked these flowers, which is kind of fun. If you have a garden at home or flowers on the side of the road, sometimes what you'll see, the Midwest, a lot of solidago. It tends to have a bit more pollen than this stuff does. Might make you a little sneezy. Again, just rotating that vase when you're adding in the extra flowers so that you're adding them in at each direction, in each side of the vase. Again, I think what we'll do is clean up these lower pieces. Add a little bit more structure and gridding for our other flowers to stick into. And coming in at an angle, and in this kind of a vase, you can have your stems hit on the side rather than straight down. If you have them go to the side, it'll be a little bit more open. And these are still going in pretty easy. So if you are having any trouble getting your stem to go in I'll show you on one of these little pieces. You can kind of twist it in between your fingers while you're sticking it through that grid. It'll make it go into the grid a little bit easier. One more piece of solidago. I might save those other branches for later if we need to fill in an empty space. Cleaning off those lower leaves, and I think right here. So right now we have our green, our filler flower, and just a really good base to hold those flowers up. I think what we're going to do is, again, divide the vase into 3 different quadrants and have one tall of each flower, one mid-level, and one low. So we kind of accent each of those different flowers as you walk around the vase. With these pink snapdragons, again, they're so fun, aren't they? You can kind of play with what direction the curve or wiggle of your flower is doing in your vase. Let's make this, actually, yeah, I like this one as the tall flower. I'm gonna have it kind of curve to the inside of the arrangement if it behaves. And we'll sneak it through that grid. That might be just a little tall. There we go. No, it's just gonna tip to the outside, but it's still fun, right? It's still fun. For our next one, actually this one has the least amount of petals, so I think we're gonna use this one low just so we're getting good use out of these beautiful pink floofs that we have here. And again, I want it to be a little bit lower than that one, but not quite as low as we're gonna make the next. And again, just finding that third and sticking that line flower in there. And let's rotate it again. So now we're gonna put this snapdragon nice and low. Right by that solidago. How cute, how cute. Okay, so let's do our alstroemeria next. Our pink alstro. It has a lot of green leaves, and I think this week with them not being open too much, what I'm gonna do is take off those leaves that are up top just so they can, the alstroemeria can be a little bit more of a focal rather than so greenery heavy. You can go either way. When I'm taking off these leaves, what I like to do is kind of pinch it between my thumbnail so that they come off easy. But sometimes you break off a flower. Oops, who's to know? All right, and it does take a little bit of time, but you can see how these ones now are very flower forward, and this one is very greenery forward. Both are fun. I like both of them, but if you want to really see those flowers before the actual petals open up, then taking off the greenery is going to show them up a little bit more. Let's have this guy be our tall one. Looks nice. And I'm just going to find one of those open quadrants, put our tall, again, spinning it if you need to get it through that grid that you have. There. Clean off the next one. Hopefully you guys are enjoying making these flower arrangements at home, and I'd love to see what flower arrangements you guys have made. If you could post some pictures to our Instagram at Flowers for Dreams. I'd love to see what you're making. And if you guys have questions or feedback, it's also a great space to let us know how things are going. All right, so let's make this one a bit of a medium height. And again, just spinning that vase a little bit to get to our next side. There we are. And our last alstro. Fun, goofy flowers, almost like the giraffes of of the flower world. They have a long neck. Okay, and this one I'm going to have be pretty low. And let's see here. And just again angling it through the vase. Okay, now our sunflowers. So again, heavy flower with a thick stem. They kind of like to do what they want to do. They're a little bit stubborn. You can open them up a little bit, but again, they'll start to open as they bloom throughout the week. But look how cute they are. So sunny, so fun. All right, let's make this one our tall flower. So it might be a little tall, but we'll see. Getting a good spot through that grid, twisting, having it stand. And again, you don't want it flopping over. So if it does just kind of sink out of the vase, you want to get it through some of those branches a little bit more. But look how cute she is, just out saying hi. All right, then let's get our next flower. And again, a little bit lower. Turn the vase just a little bit to get that next one. So, oh, see, I set it in and it just flopped over. That's because it's not through a good spot of our grid. So we actually have a little bit more solidago over here. So what I'm gonna do is clean up this piece. Oh, must have a cloud outside. It just got dark in here. Hopefully you can still see me just fine, I'm sure. All right, and cutting this. And again, I wanted to get that sunflower right in here, and it just feels a little too open to hold it nice and tight in there. So I'm sticking this piece of solidago, you can foof it up, in there to hold the stem more upright. You can give it another little trim. And again, cutting those stems on an angle to make sure they're getting some good water access. Don't want them flat and pressed against the bottom of the vase. It makes them really hard to drink. Oh my goodness. Go. All right. Look at her. Standing tall, standing proud. Okay. So now when we turn here, now you can see that lower space is a little bit open, and that is where I want to put my next sunflower. Again, you can open it up a little bit if you'd like. Give her some breathing room. Be gentle. And we're gonna cut this one pretty low. I think having her rest on the edge of that base is going to be super cute. Spinning it to try to get it through that grid nicely. Oh, and look at that. Look at how fun. Okay, so we have our little solidago pieces left over that you can either use in a small arrangement of your choosing, or if you have some longer pieces, you can use them in the base. So I am just cleaning those up, get a little fluff of solidago, give them a nice little trim, and just look around your vase and see if there's a spot that needs something. I'm feeling like right here would be a nice spot to have some solidago. Go in your home, flower. All right, go. There, now it doesn't have that empty spot. I'm just gonna look around the vase, see if there's anything else that kind of sticks out to me that I feel needs a little bit more. And then we have the billy balls next, which are so fun. It's just fun to say, billy balls. It's goofy. It's goofy. All right. Oh no. Hey, flower, stand tall. Okay. All right, and I like these guys to kind of stand up. I think that makes them more of a statement, more of a focal when they have a little bit more negative space behind them. So let's see. Kind of cut them at two different heights, kind of if you hold them a little bit and then cut them together, you know what height difference you'll have. And these, because they don't have much to them other than the cute little flower on top. Cutting them both together is pretty easy. And I just think that these are fun right in the center. Oh, okay. What a cute little arrangement. And again, those alstroemeria, once they pop open, they are really gonna fill up that vase because there are so many different flower heads, usually about 5. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So once those open, they're really gonna fill up the arrangement. But how fun of a garden flower floof we have this week with lovely pots of yellow and pink. It's just a lot of fun, and I hope you guys had fun enjoying this time with me and making these arrangements. I look forward to seeing you again, and have a great week.